What's going on? This your boy Shaw, aka Shaw the Barber, aka Skill Hands at Work. Hey, we about to get into this cut right here, y'all. This one's gonna be something special, so let's get right into it. Hey, the way we're gonna start this out, we're gonna start it out like we do every time. You shampoo the hair twice, ensuring that you're getting a good lather on that second shampoo. Making sure the hair is good and clean so nothing sticks to your clippers or the scalp while you work. Now at this point, all we want to do is just towel dry the hair. We don't want to completely dry it, we just want to leave it damp so we don't have to go back and add water with a spray bottle. We're going to start by doing the shear work on the top of the head first. So what I'm doing is trying to get the center line down the center of the head all the way from the front to the back. The reason I start with my shear work first is so that the hair will dry as I cut. Instead of drying out the hair now, I do my shear work while the hair is wet on the top, and then I blend my sides up into my top. And this is my guideline down the center of the head. For the best look, it's best to check and double check your work. Use a shape-up clipper, this one is not zero gapped, and create your first guideline all the way around the head. Not going too high and making sure that it drops down in the back. We are doing a drop fade. And this is a skin fade. And for a skin fade, we use a shaver to get the hair to the desired level. So what we're doing right now is we're just clearing out the area where the shaver is going to go back and clean up. So now time for the shaver. This is the Series 9 shaver made by Braun. And all we're gonna do is clear out the bottom. We're gonna leave a little bit of an area where we use the shape-up clipper to clear out. We're gonna leave about a ½ inch gap. So this would be considered the first guideline now where the shaver is gonna end. And we're gonna have to come back with a shape-up clipper and get out any lines that we leave in from the shaver. Now this shaver works very well. It cuts hairs at all lengths. It's an amazing shaver. Cuts very fast. I will be doing a review on this shaver at some point in time. I love it. But just make sure you clean the area very well. Now we're getting the 3.5 out. The 3.5 blade is good for removing the bulk above the trimmer line, the first guideline that we set in. This is going to remove the bulk all the way up into the area where I want to do my clipper over comb. So what we do, leave blades flat on the head. This is not a lot of flicking or anything like that. We're just running up and we're trying to create a shelf. A light shelf, not a heavy shelf, a light shelf. And we're gonna come back and blend this shelf in with our clipper over comb and our shear over comb towards the end of the haircut. I'm not trying to dig into the area at the very top. I'm letting the clipper glide straight up and off the head. All right, so now we got the triple eye blade out. We're going through, and now we're setting in our guideline above the trimmer guideline. We're going up just about another 1/2 inch. We're not going up too high. And we're doing this all the way around the head yet again, following the same line that we followed with the trimmer. So now we're moving into that one blade. We're gonna use this one just like we use the triple eye. We're gonna set in another guideline. All the way around the head. Same height. About 1/2 inch to 1 inch, but not going too high, because we gotta save that shelf for the end. I'm still leaving the blade flat on the head and coming up and off of the scalp. I'm not digging into the haircut. I'm lifting straight up off of the cut. The 1.5 blade. This boy is gonna help us blend that 1 into that 3.5 on the top. And this is what's gonna start pulling this haircut together and making it look like it's working. The 1.5 is where I pretty much stop and start doing all my clipper over comb work. Now I know you thinking, how you figure you stopped if you knocked down the bulk with a 3.5? Well, I'm gonna take this 1.5 and I'm gonna blend it into that 3.5 with my clipper over comb. Now, if you look, I'm coming straight up off the head. I'm not digging in. It's a straight up motion. Now we starting to work back down them blades. We're at the 1A now. So we went from the 1 to the 1.5. Now we going back down between the 1.5 and the 1, and that is the 1A. So right now what I'm doing is I'm using the 1A. I'm trying to knock out that guideline between the 1 and the 1.5. I'm just about to make this start to blend together right now. It's all gonna start to come together right here in this moment. This is when the fade, once you start moving back down and you're getting those guidelines out the way, this is when that fade start to come together. It's about the work. It's sad, but it takes this long for a fade to start to come together and actually look like you're creating the work that you want. But what I'm doing is I'm still gliding straight up off the head. I'm not using no curving motions. I'm really just going in and trying to make sure the stuff is blending together. You see that fade starting to come together now? It's starting to look like a fade. Now we're breaking out that OA blade. This is when the clipper over comb work goes crazy right here. And this is what we're gonna use to get that triple lot line out. The line from the triple lot to the 1, it's coming out with this blade, plus my clipper over comb, blending that shelf in, is all done with the OA blade. That's why the OA blade is my favorite blade. It is the most versatile blade that I feel like I have in my arsenal. It can do so much, and especially once you get good at clipper over comb. I think all barbers need to work on that. Clipper over comb is a necessity. I'm taking my time. I'm never in a rush to do a haircut. It's all about making sure the cut come out the way I want it to look. I care more about the appearance of my work than I do about the time of my work. So here it is, clipper over comb. This is probably my favorite thing to do during a haircut. I wish I did all my haircuts like this, but it does take more time to work clipper over comb. But I think clipper over comb is probably the most important thing you can learn as a barber. So I'm gonna do this working around the whole head, trying to blend the sides up into the top, all clipper over comb. This gives you the shape that you're looking for, not the shape of the head. Now we're taking the OA blade and we're getting rid of the guideline between the triple aught and the 1. Now we're also going to use the corners of the blade and go up a little bit into the fade. Just using the corners, we're going to go up in and try and get out some of the dark spots that might have been left throughout the cut. But for the most part, we're using this blade at this point just to get rid of the line, the guideline between the triple aught and the 1 blade. Focusing on using the corners as much as possible. Now at some point you might have to go back with a triple aught and get some of that line out that you put in with the triple aught. That is how you get lines out. You use the blade that you put them in an X motion and you get them out. What I plan to do though is using the 4-aught blade and going back and getting out what I put in with the triple aught and a little bit of the line that I put in with the shaver. Alright, so at this point, we smoothing out this fade a little bit, trying to just make it blend in a little bit smoother up into that 3.5 and into the top. So what I decided to do was to go back with that 4-aught blade. That's 4 zeros on the blade. I went back with the 4-aught, and now I'm just trying to smooth out this fade and make it blend in. This is one thing that you have to get used to if you're using blades to cut. Sometimes you're going to want to go back and just smooth things out a little bit better. And the best way to do that, once you get hairs down to a manageable length, you can go back and start using smaller blades like your shape up clipper and things like that to smooth out the fade real good. It is a process and it does take a little bit more time, but I'm telling you, if you plan on using detachable blades, the time used doing your detail work towards the end of your fade is going to make all the difference. It takes a lot of work, but it takes time. But I'm telling you, if you practice it, play around with it, your work will come out looking just as good, if not better, if you ask me. This is just my personal opinion, but I do love detachable blades. But I did get something in that I think y'all gonna be excited about. I'm gonna show y'all a new clipper that I got. Just waiting on everything to go back to normal so I can put them clippers in the shop and show y'all videos of what they come out like. But for right now, this is what we working with, the detachable blades, and right now this is a 4-aught blade, and all we doing is smoothing that boy out. Using those corners, making that blend come together. Now once again, we just smoothing out this work. So what we're doing shear over comb. This is a very important thing too when you're trying to make a haircut look smooth. Basically, you just following the comb with the shears up the head as you go. Move the comb slowly, moving the blade of the shear fast, and that will give you a smooth looking transition into your work. We will go back with the thinning shears just to add a little bit of texture to it a little bit later. But while we're doing this, we're just trying to make sure everything comes out looking smooth. Now we're breaking out those thinning shears. And all we're doing is adding a little bit of texture, trying to make everything blend together a little bit smoother. We don't use the thinning shears that much. We're just knocking off a little bit of hair. This thinning shear is a 50% thinning shear made by Hattori Hanzo. It removes 50% of the bulk as you go through it. This is a great shear. I think that most barbers, this is probably the perfect shear because of the 50%. It removes a lot of bulk at one time and you don't have to worry about going through it 2 and 3 times. So now we're breaking out the shape up clipper. This one right here, I did a review on this clipper. It is an amazing clipper, especially for the price. One of the best clippers I think you can get for the price. It's made by Andis. It's called the Andis Slimline Pro Li. I did do a review on it. This is what I do a lot of my detail work with, even throughout the whole fade. Now this is where I'm just trying to remove a little bit of that bulk right there at the top. I like to leave front lines natural on my straight hair clients as much as possible. If they have long hair on the top, I don't feel like it's a reason to put a line. It just makes the haircut not last as long. But right now what I'm doing, I'm going back through and I'm just trying to get out that guideline that the shaver left behind between the shaver and the first shape up clipper that I used to put the first guideline in. It was not this shape up clipper. That shape up clipper was made by Babyliss Pro. And this one is made by Andis. This one I do set close to zero gap. I don't think I zero gap any of my clippers, but this one is adjusted. The Babyliss Pro, I didn't do anything to adjust the blade. But on my Andis, I adjust the blade. This is my shape up clipper. So we just working that line out all the way around the head. Any lines that we see, we're going through and we're using the corners to get them out. That's it right there. All we got to do now is put some product in the hair. We let the client check it out, see what he thinks about it. We did do razor work on this cut, but I didn't put it in. I didn't record it all as good as I wanted to, so I just left it out. But I do razor work on every haircut. And now we just putting the product in, get it mixed all throughout the hair. The product I use is a product called Suavecito. And we combing it through, getting ready to put a little bit of a lift when we add the blow dryer to it. So here it is, we blow drying. We're just using the comb and trying to get some lift added to it. Combing through, getting everything good and blended through. We want the product to blend through the hair very well. And so now we drying the product in. And as you see, we working to get that lift on the hair. Now we got a little bit of lift. And all I do to get the lift is just turn and curl my comb. This is why I love using combs so much, because combs are so versatile. There's so many different things you can do with them. I think that combs are a much better option for barbers than brushes are. This is what makes combs so versatile. It's one tool and you can use it for so many different purposes. It's a guard, it's a comb, it's a lifting tool, it's I mean, it does everything. Combs are the way to go. This was the cut. I hope y'all enjoyed. And this your boy Shaw, aka Shaw the Barber, aka Skilled Hands at Work. And that's how we do it. We out.